and also employment. Okay. And it seems for some statistic also, for some reason or how, I'm going to mention this point here, that urban residents okay, in many parts of the world okay, seem tend to live longer. To live longer than rural residents. Residents, and also to mention, and also have lower infant mortality. Fertility, and also fertility rates. Okay. And of course, this is, of course, has what you call, simply because they have better access to medical care, what you call family planning, and so on. So you can put it yourself here, okay? And education, to mention this point here. Now, the other point I'm going to mention, okay, that urban areas also, to mention, have environmental advantages okay, advantages, for example, that recycling is more economically feasible. Recycling is more economically feasible. Okay. Simply to mention, of course, because of the high concentration of recyclable material, because of the high concentration okay, of, we call it, recyclable materials in urban areas. Okay. And now also to mention about some of these advantages, basically, of course, we are talking on the city, which is all concentrated in one area. So this has the advantage, of course, preserving some like biodiversity and reducing heat and cooling because in one, okay, rather than in separate homes. To mention this factor. Now, concentrating people in cities. In cities, okay, preserve, okay, biodiversity, simply by reducing okay stress on wildlife habitats. On wildlife habitat also, this is one thing to mention, and also heating and cooling. And cooling of, say, for example, multi-story building, say in central cities, okay, takes less energy. Okay, takes less energy, of course, per person than heating and cooling. Okay, heating or cooling, just okay, both of these here. Okay, single family homes, and also and smaller office buildings. Okay. Though, of course, though we mentioned this point, particularly the number of people, but in general, going to mention this point. Now, central city, okay, dwellers, we mentioned to here, that central city dwellers, okay, also tend to drive less. Okay, to drive less, okay, and rely more on mass transportation, or we call it carpooling, okay, or walking, for example, and so on. And so on. Okay, now this is some of the advantage, but also other thing we talk about what you call the disadvantage of urbanization. So subtitle here, urbanization disadvantages. Okay. Now, this is going to mean that basically that most of the urban areas are unstable system. To mention this point here, that most urban areas, considered as a matter of fact, are unstable, okay, systems. Okay, and to mention, for example, now, urban population occupy okay, occupy about 3% of the whole earth, as a matter, all the urban city. Okay, urban population occupy only 3% of the Earth's land area. Earth's called land area, okay, but they consume about almost like 75% of the world resources. So basically they acquire 3% of the land area, but they consume okay, about 75% of the world's okay, resources. Okay. Okay. And also and produce okay, and produce about 75%, also 75%, okay, of its pollution and wastes. Okay. Okay. And to mention of this regard here, and because of this high input of food, water, and other resources, and other uh, uh, resources. Okay. So basically, thus, and the resulting, and the resulting, to mention basically of high waste output, and resulting high waste output. Okay. And that's because of this, basically, most of the city, they have what you call a very high, what you call ecological footprint, which is exceed their limit or boundaries. And to mention this point here, okay, and thus most of the world's cities okay, cities have high ecological or have huge, okay, ecological footprints, okay, that extend, of course, beyond their boundaries. This is why here, beyond their boundaries. Okay. Just give me a second here just to. Okay. Sorry. Okay, their boundaries. Mentionable. This is, of course, we talk about what you call one part of the population of this disadvantage. We talk also about the other point here, basically lack of vegetation. Okay. As already you know, basically to mention, basically in urban areas, most trees, okay, shrubs, grasses, which is basically off, and other plants, okay, are cleared basically to make way for buildings, okay, roads, and of course, as you know, roads and extra like also parking lots, okay, plus also and house or housing development. Okay. Now, to mention another point here, that, and thus basically that most cities, if you finish this one here, basically I'm going to move it up there. If you want to just let me know. Okay. And to mention this point here, that most cities, okay, do not benefit what you call it from the free ecosystem services. Do not benefit from, okay, the free, okay, ecosystem services. which is basically provided, okay, by green spaces. Okay, to mention, for example, such as, for example, air purification by nature, air purification, generation of oxygen, okay, uh, also removal of atmospheric carbon dioxide, okay, and also control of soil erosion, okay, and wildlife habitats. And wildlife habitats. Okay. And now, of course, some people in the cities, they start feeling this. Okay, and that's basically they try to address the problem by having what you call more green spaces. They do that. Now, but just to mention, okay, in general, okay, if you want to mention that also some cities around the world, of course, some cities, okay, are beginning to address this problem, okay, by reclaiming green spaces. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to mention, we talk about this like vegetation. The other point is talk about water problems. Okay. As, for example, to mention, as urban area grows, okay, so, and also, and their water demand, of course, and their water demands also increases and increase, okay. In that case, basically, they have to build, of course, building expensive reservoirs and canals, okay, and canals. And basically all that basically what you call, this can deprive, this activity means can deprive, okay, rural and wild areas of surface water and also, and at the same time also can deplete more and more what you call the groundwater supplies. And to mention this point here, and can deplete okay ground water supplies. Now, also to mention that flooding also tend to be more worse, especially for cities building near what you call streams and lake. To mention this point here, flooding also tend, okay, to be worse. Okay, flooding to be worse, of course, in cities basically built on floodplain. Floodplains or also or near rivers and coastline. And coast lines. Okay. Also, the same thing seems to me in a lot of cities. To build it has resulted to what you call to eradicate a lot of what you call the wetland areas, which used to be very beneficial to the ecosystem. To mention this point here. Now, also urban development. Okay. Development has destroyed or in other words, degraded. Or degraded large areas of wetlands that serves or served, as a matter of fact, as natural sponges to absorb excess stormwater, that serve as a natural sponges okay, to absorb okay, excess water, storm water. Okay. Okay, I mentioned this one. Give me a second. And also basically it happened that most of the city which is built on the coastline, especially of this climate change, try basically to increase the level and flooding. To make this point here also, many coastal cities will very likely face increased flooding. Okay, will very likely face increased flooding in this century. Okay, flooding in this century. Okay, as for example, as we call as as sea levels rise because of climate change. Okay. Also in the city, we're going to talk about, as a matter of fact, other point here, which is basically that pollution and health problem. Okay. Simply to mention, of course, that cities really produce most of the world's air pollution. Cities produce most of the world's air pollution, at the same time water pollution, and also solid and hazardous waste. Wastes. Okay. The other point I'm going to mention, of course, in this regard, that simply, of course, pollution or polluted level already is high or higher in the cities. Okay. Now, to mention also pollutant level. Are generally high or higher in cities. Okay. Because what happened here to mention in cities, this is cities, because the pollution, because the pollution is produced in a confined area okay, in a confined area, and cannot be dispersed and cannot be dispersed or okay, dispersed. Okay, dispersed as the case okay in rural areas. Okay. The other point I'm going to mention, of course, high, what you call, to mention other point, of course, that high population densities always, as a matter of fact, promote basically the spread of infections, okay, diseases. To mention this point here also, high population densities, high population densities, okay, in urban areas, of course, promote okay the spread of infectious okay diseases, infectious diseases, okay, especially without adequate drinking water and sewage system. Of course, in some, I'm not talking about especially in less developed area, okay, infectious diseases, especially without, okay, adequate drinking water, okay, and sewage system. Okay. This one here. And now also in the cities, what we have excessive noise. Talk about this one here. As in general, going to mention that most urban dwellers okay, are subjected to noise pollution. Are subjected, okay, to noise pollution. Because really, as you know, especially, okay, to mention here, sound in general, to mention, of course, sound, okay, becomes unwanted. Okay, when it is when it interfere. Okay, where it interfere with normal activities. I mean, with the human activity or okay, interfere with normal activities. Okay, such as sleeping or conservation, okay, or conservation or disrupt or diminishes one's quality of life. And to mention this point here, when it interfere with normal activities, okay, such as sleeping, okay, or conservation or disrupt or diminishes one's quality of life. Okay, just give me 1 second, please. All right. Now, also to mention this point here, basically, that the city basically effect on local climates. Okay. Of course, what you are talking here, basically, when you look to a city like this, and especially when you have a city with a dense, okay, just give me a second here. When you have a city basically with a very dense building, and so that, of course, all going to affect the type of the temperature, humidity, and so on. So we're going to talk about this one here, okay, to make sure what's okay now. Now, effect on local climate. Now, cities tend to be warmer in general. To be warmer, okay, foggier, okay, and cloudier, okay, than suburbs, or nearby rural areas. Or nearby rural areas. Okay, of course, in cities, okay, the enormous amount of heat, okay, of heat generated by cars, okay, generated by cars factories, put it down here, okay, factories, furnaces, okay, light, air conditioners, and so on. Conditioners, okay. And of course, in addition to all that, the heat being absorbed by the dark roof or, okay, dark building and so on. And heat absorbing. Okay, and heat absorbing. Dark roofs. Okay, and streets. Create basically what is known as an urban, or we call basically what you call a heat island. Okay, streets. It creates an urban, we call it heat island. And basically, because that's called heat island, and of course surrounded surrounded, as a matter of fact, okay, by a cooler, okay, suburban, and rural areas. Okay. Now, what happened here basically that we call this heat island, or these heat islands, okay, can reduce, okay, this can reduce the natural cleansing of polluted air, can reduce the natural cleansing of polluted air, okay. And of course, a result of this, basically what happened here, and the building, of course, going to depend basically in order that going to depend on air conditioning and other things, machines here, which is internal, as a matter of fact, it has itself also an impact on the environment, which is going to mention it here, okay, cleansing of polluted air, okay, and the urban heat, heat island, the urban heat island effect, okay, can also increase okay, I mean, it can also give dependence on air conditioning. Okay. Dependence on air conditioning of air conditioning, And this, of course, to mention, and this in turn, this is, and this, of course, in turns, okay, lead to higher energy consumption, okay, to higher energy consumption, okay, and also at the same time, we call a greenhouse gas emission, greenhouse gas emission, and of course, and also on other forms of air pollution. And other forms of okay of air pollution. Okay. And also at the same time, as a result of this high population or mega cities, always you find, especially in areas of countries who are not underdeveloped, they have a lot of slums area around it, okay? And that, of course, create a lot of other environmental problem here to mention in this. So also the same thing called here, that urbanization and slum areas. Okay. And you can see sometime like this one here, okay, or this one here, as a matter of fact, okay, sometime. So basically, this is can cause quite a bit of, okay. So we talk about this one here, okay. Simply to mention in this regard, basically, that of course, life in slums is a desperate struggle. To make this point, life in slums, okay, is a desperate struggle. Okay, now the other point to mention, of course, in this regard, that basically that poverty, okay, poverty is a way of life okay, for many urban dwellers, okay, for many, sorry, for many urban dwellers, okay, in less developed countries. In less developed countries, okay. So basically, is roughly it seems around the world, basically till almost 2020, that the slum area basically is about 1 billion to 1.4 billion. Okay, to mention to you here. Now, to mention now, let's develop country. Now, the number of urban residents, the number of urban residents okay, in 2020, okay, is about, okay, 1 billion to almost 1.4 billion. Billions. And this is basically according to the United Nations or to UN studies. According, I'm going to put it down here, to UN studies. Okay. Now, to mention this point here, just, okay. To mention this point, but basically that residents, okay, of slums area of, okay, of this, okay, are subject basically they are subject, okay, to severe air and water pollution. Is exposed to severe, okay, air and water pollution. You finish from this one, I'm going to put it. Did you finish from this one? I guess so. Okay. Down here, okay, are subject to severe air and water pollution, okay, and also on hazardous waste, and hazardous waste, okay, from nearby, okay, from nearby, okay, factories, okay, plus, okay, many of these settlement okay, are prone, or simply to mention settlement, are in locations, okay, are in locations prone, okay, prone to landslides, okay, flooding, Okay. Earthquakes or fire. Okay. Oh, of course, simply to mention, of course, large city always they are a struggle. Of course, the countries are they are struggle basically try to improve sometimes, but sometimes very costly. And to mention to you here, okay, simply to mention one point here that large cities in less developed countries, okay, well, in less developed countries, as a matter of fact, struggle to deal with the poverty, okay, deal of course with the poverty, okay, population, and at the same time, and pollution. Okay. I'm just going to give you an example without anything but just a study. Of course, this study has been done, but as a matter of fact, in from 1992 to basically that Mexico City, we're going to use Mexico City as an example in this case. It used to have and also considered a mega city, and used to have a lot of slum area around it. And of course, they try to now they improve quite a bit. Okay, but just to discuss it because at the time it will be considered one of the most polluted city in the world. To mention to you now, as an example here. Okay, for example, use okay that Mexico City. Okay, is one considered no, is one of the world's mega cities. Okay, and basically it used to be in that time almost more than one third of the population lives in a slum area. Intimation, more than one third of its residents, okay, more than one third of its uh, residents, okay, or residents or live in slums, okay, okay, live in, okay, in slums, okay, or yeah, in slums basically without running water, okay, and electricity, okay, and symptomation, and at least at the time course of the study, okay, which is I think in 1992, and at least 3 million people, okay, have no sewage facilities. Have no sewage facilities. Okay. Plus also that Mexico City plus has to also has a lot of air pollution because of the car. And to make this point, and Mexico City, okay, has a serious air pollution problem. Okay, this is what the whole time ago. Wow. Air pollution problems because of, okay, because of too many cars, because of too many cars, okay, also plus polluting factories, okay, and because of the basic vitamin and a warm, sunny climate, all that climate that increase smoke. Okay. And just to mention this point here, that basically in 1992, sorry, I don't know. I think last lecture I explained to you the mega cities. The mega cities, remember, I explained last lecture, maybe this, okay, I will just mention it to you here, that basically when too many cities, large city, they convert together and become a mega city, in which basically their population will increase than 10 million people and so on, okay? Now to continue with this lecture here, okay? Because I think last lecture we explained that, what mean the mega cities. Now, to continue with this one, okay? Uh, as I mentioned to you, basically in 1992, okay, the UN or United Nations named, okay, Mexico City, okay, the most polluted city on the planet. Okay. But of course, since that time, as a matter of fact, since that time, okay, since that time, as a matter of fact, Mexico tried to work very hard, okay, basically to improve that, okay, to mention some of the factors mentioned to here, okay, that now, since then, just before it seemed the time is running out here, since then, mentioned to here, Mexico has made a progress. Okay, and reducing okay the severity of some okay of its air pollution problem of some of its air pollution problem. Or problems. Okay. Basically, what happened here, I'm going to mention some factor basically. Now, the city basically, they did the following factor. Okay. Problem by, okay, doing the following instead of make it because the lecture is running very fast here. Okay. Now, moved basically, they moved refineries and factories, okay, out of the city. Okay. The other thing they did, they banned car in the central zone of the city. Okay. In its central zone. Okay. And also what they did also, and they required, okay, air pollution control controls on all cars okay made after 1991. Okay. And at the time also, because they, of course, here we have it, they stop also using what you call the leaded gas, okay? And to mention this one here, and phased out stop using it, the use of leaded gasoline. Okay. I'm going to mention this one to you. You can put it down here if you finish this one. Of course, until 2013, of course, they come quite ahead. That basically they reduce air pollution. They did a lot of cycling, all that. But still, of course, they have a way to go. The reason, okay, mention this because now we are going to subtitle the eco-city concept. I'm going to talk about it this next lecture because now the eco-city center, because now really at the modern time, all the cities basically the design of city are car centered. And this eco-city, they want to make it basically as people centered, okay? So in other words, not use car, very easy to read area, but I will discuss that with you next lecture, okay? So did you follow the lecture okay today, please?
Yes.
Or you have any question, let me know, okay? Because this is also the item of this also is one of the environmental things here. And usually in each time we're going to discuss some of these items of lecture, okay? Any more question, please? Well, okay. So basically, I will talk to you on a Friday, and hopefully by now everyone have at least develop what you call a title for their work, for their essay, and we try to discuss it maybe on this maybe Friday meeting and see how it's going to go. Okay. Okay, then I'm going to end my Zoom here, and thank you for everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.